Well, the podcasting space definitely is getting very interesting and awkward.
Going on. Okay, you ask one person to go on the record that would ever tell you that I was in any way making a single decision. You think Joe?
Yeah. This as the left is still looking for their Joe Rogan replacement, a man who's been on a mission as of late to make you think critically about some of the most controversial issues of our time, as Joe Rogan also just had his birthday, and according to The Hill, he has been dethroned and defeated. Who's defeating him? Is this actually true? Is the culture shifting in a way where the left has won the podcast wars? Well, that's exactly what we are going to be talking about in this particular video, as of course, being an independent journalist for over 21 years and in the podcast space, we have a little bit to say about a lot of this kind of weird positioning and posturing by the left that clearly is losing here. Now, does that mean there's going to be a clear pathway for the right? Well, it's a little bit more of a complicated answer that we are going to be giving you. And if you appreciate these type of nuanced conversations, we greatly appreciate all the time you spend with us. And we can't thank you enough for subscribing and clicking the notification button, as Joe Rogan is a pioneer. His impact, especially on the last election, especially on just being able to push back against a lot of the kind of orthodoxies of the insane left here, have been instrumental in some of the biggest culture war victories that the establishment was not able to have because of the logical kind of unscripted bro-like conversations from Joe Rogan that unraveled their Ponzi schemes and their psyops against the people of the world in real time. And this is why there have been many attempts to try to dethrone, to cancel, to deplatform, and demonetize Joe Rogan. There were many orchestrated, organized efforts, specifically going out of their way to say, no, Joe Rogan is illegitimate. He likes to suck on horse paste. He's yellow. Look at yellow. Look at the filter. CNN has a filter. Look how sickly. Look how horrible he looks here. I can't believe it. He's so awful. And everyone was watching that being like, why? The dude's just having bro-down conversations, talking about his own personal experience, telling you to do your own research. Again, Joe Rogan is highly entertaining. He's a comedian, but most importantly, a lot of people believe him to be sort of like a philosopher. And again, his birthday yesterday was marked with the media talking about how he is destroyed. Now, this is The Hill that wrote a couple days ago. Left-wing podcast, Midas touch dethrones Joe Rogan. Signs of culture war shift, ? I would absolutely disagree. This is an opinion piece written by Lindsay Linds here. And of course, they have these two women to explain to you the big culture shift that's happening in our society right now that is highlighting how Joe Rogan is irrelevant. I don't think he is. And there's a bunch of nuanced points that I want to make here, specifically when it comes to the ability to stay relevant over a long period of time, since Joe Rogan has been with us for a very long time, and he's probably not going to be going away anytime soon.
Have been in a stronghold by conservative pro-Trump voices. I mean, Joe Rogan, Ben Shapiro, Sean Ryan. Trump even leaned into this lane during the 2024 campaign, bypassing traditional media in many instances for appearances on these shows. But something interesting is happening. In the first 6 months of Trump's return to office...
Again, I automatically, I'm like, why am I watching this? It's like... It's like you're reading off a teleprompter, first of all. Okay, this is why the corporate media is losing relevancy, and why podcasters, independent media, who have organic, natural conversations without a script, without being told what to say, without special interest groups, are dominating and taking your lunch. Okay? This is why. It's ours. All right? Give me that. Because, again, it's also scripted. It's also fake. It's also artificial. There's no genuineness when it comes to this puppeteer regurgitating talking points here from her teleprompter. And again, it's so just not genuine here. These right-wing voices have dominated it for so long. Oh, no, that's so bad. Oh. Shut up, Karen.
The Midas Touch podcast, a pro-democracy, anti-MAGA show.
Pro-democracy, anti-MAGA, yeah, that's our team. We're gonna win, yeah.
By most accounts, hosted by the Measless brothers, has been ranked #1 a few times across major platforms.
He's #1, yeah, we're winning, we're okay, yeah.
On YouTube from July 21st through the 27th, Midas Touch topped the U.S. podcast chart.
Okay, that's just a few days here. Who has lasting power? Who has staying power? Clearly, it's Joe Rogan here. But again, they are so desperate, so they're trying to create the Streisand effect. They're like, yeah, we got it, we win. Joe Rogan, second place on YouTube. Do I have to remind you that YouTube is not his main platform? That he has a deal with Spotify? Right? Do I have to remind you that? Do I have to remind you, like, that's one of many particular platforms. Now, I don't know. Honestly, I had to look up Midas Touch here. I didn't know much about them. I just kind of look them up here. Their videos are okay. It's nothing really surprising. Yeah, they're getting hits and they're doing good in the YouTube algorithm. But like, okay, I haven't really heard about them. As Joe Rogan had some very interesting comments about this kind of podcast space. We're going to play that as well as the trajectory of everything that's going on here. But before we do, we wanted to tell you about the sponsor of today's video. And that, of course, is Vinia.com/wearechange, where you can get some really awesome, incredible products that I've been testing and using personally myself. As of course, we wanted to tell you about something that I personally was using. We actually interviewed the owner of this company recently on this YouTube channel, and they're really doing some amazing work out there, as Vinia is not your average supplement. Vinia is a red grape cell powder that supports blood flow, energy, and heart health. Think of it like getting the benefit of red wine without the sugar, alcohol, or calories. I definitely don't like booze myself here, so this was a plus for me personally. As I have been taking it, and you can see here, look, I took a whole package. I just took one right before doing this video, and I definitely feel something. I feel more alert, more physically energetic, and just better overall kind of circulation. Of course, the science behind this stuff is legit. It's backed up by real clinical studies. In fact, Vinia has shown to increase arterial dilation by at least 70% for those who took it daily for 90 days, which helps your blood flow better and deliver more oxygen and nutrients to all parts of your body to perform at its best. Athletes and professionals are using Vinia to keep their blood flow flowing and their energy levels up. My favorite way to have it, they're daily chewables. They taste like grape-flavored Starburst and are my quick go-to. But if you prefer something else, they also have you covered. They have capsules, supplements, tasty coffee pods, and teas too. Great variety, so it's easy to fit into any routine. Pick the way you want to. Vinia, if you're into being at your best with more alertness and physical energy, get Vinia a shot. And right now, you can try it risk-free with our link below. Support your body and support the channel while you're at it. Vinia.com/wearechange. We thank them for working with us, sponsoring this show. And again, I'm a nerd, so I love all this stuff here. And it was really great having the CEO on our show here, the owner on our show here. So look them up, check them out. And we definitely thank them for their support of this independent media organization and this kind of larger cultural revolution that I would say individuals like Joe Rogan, Alex Jones, and many others have led the pathway on. Now, there's a couple things that this media anchor lady gets wrong here that I wanted to call out. So I'm going to play the rest of the clip here. Bear with the corporate media. Just a little bit longer, please.
From June 7th to July 7th, Podscribe clocked it at 124 million views, more than triple Joe Rogan's podcast at 39.2
on YouTube, not even his own platform.
Million views.
That he's
Still
on.
High, but not as high as the Midas Touch. Rogan slipped to 6th so far in August. Midas is still holding steady at the top of that chart. That indicates to me a cultural turning point.
Is it really? I mean, listen, there's an argument to be made here about the Trump administrations and their kind of turbulent policy decisions. But to say these guys are right-wing, no, they're not. We had a lot of prominent podcasters actually stand correct on issues and values and morals and scruples that the corporate media has never shown to have. The corporate media gets told to shut up and listen. This administration that's in power right now has been telling some podcasters to shut up. Some of them have, but the vast majority of haven't. And they actually started to speak out more in face of this type of kind of small suppression that's happening here. Now, this is why independent media, this is why the podcasting space, a kind of more genuine, honest, real space. As of course, if we have ads, we tell you it's ads. We're more kind of upfront about it than the corporate media that has major kind of editorial decision-making policies determined by the people that bring in all the money for them. Independent media, more likely, and again, there's some people that are bought off shows. Let's just be honest with ourselves, all right? But vast majority, the space has shown itself kind of not influenceable by people in power, and that's why people are going to it, because they're like, whoa, maybe we could get some legitimate information. Maybe we could actually have a real conversation here, which is something that we haven't had for an extremely long time.
One that reveals a growing hunger for alternatives to MAGA talking points, even among audiences.
They're not MAGA talking points. Again, this is an alternative to MAGA talking points. Joe Rogan isn't a MAGA talking point guy. This is a guy that literally is saying, hey, the Epstein thing is a red line. Hey, Operation Warp Speed, big mistake here. Hey, can we not bomb foreign countries? He even expressed a lot of discontent with the Trump administration and even had private dinners with him talking about, hey, can you not deport everyone? And again, people have mixed feelings about that particularly, but Joe Rogan isn't talking about MAGA talking points. What are you talking about? You delusional script reading boobhead. What is this? What are you doing? Why are you lying? Why are you being disingenuous? This is what, click. Like, you're insulting my intelligence here. Click, I'm off. I'm not paying attention. Why am I going to be paying attention to your nonsense when you're full of crap and you're contradicting yourself? Oh, no, they're MAGA talking points.
Who once leaned right. And here's where it gets interesting. The very voices that built up.
Yeah, and again, they just keep going on here talking about in this weird kind of hypocritical circle. As Joe Rogan talked about how, CNN and all these corporate media organizations were like, oh no, there's a network of podcasters. Oh, they're having too much influence. And Joe Rogan kind of called this out here as he calls out a lot of stuff. He said some really controversial things about Operation Warp Speed. We'll get into that in a little bit, but this is what he had to say about the kind of podcast network here.
I saw one CNN after the election, they were talking about us in specific, and they were talking about how there is this network of podcasts that are interconnected that has been financed. Like this huge
Who's paying us?
corporate finance network.
It's called
of
Black Rifle Coffee.
It's like, it's so stupid. No, it's actually just a bunch of friends, you fucking idiots. We just happen to do each other's podcasts. But they're like trying to sort it out.
Bro, it's
like,
so funny when they
support
try to
each
solve the
other. They
problem.
go on each other's shows, and they're all in this together. Well, we need that on the left. Like,
yeah, and the left here has been dramatically trying to save face in light of them throwing the corporate media, throwing all the celebrities from the music industry, from Hollywood, from the P. Diddy party list. All of them are like, hey, Kamala. It didn't work. Why? Because of podcasters. Podcasters like Andrew Schultz that you just saw talking here, Tim Dillon, Joe Rogan, who, by the way, all are at odds with the President of the United States. All are at odds and aren't just regurgitating the talking points of this administration, but actually having nuanced conversations where if Donald Trump does something good, they're like, oh yeah, this is good. If Donald Trump does something bad, they're like, this is horrible. And they're willing to, of course, be loyal to their audience rather than to existing power structures in our current realm and reality. That right there is why we're taking the corporate media's lunch and they're more relevant than ever. And now there's also a very kind of weird situation where, you as an independent journalist, you used to talk about the corporate media and they used to give views. You don't do that because they're becoming more and more irrelevant. They're getting less and less views, especially as the older populations, especially the boomers kind of die out here. All of their core viewing audience members that are still stuck on the boob tube, they're no longer around, right? Their viewership is declining dramatically. Our viewership is growing. And with our viewership, with our numbers, with our reach, with our influence growing, there comes a great responsibility. Now, I think we're also reached a very interesting kind of precipice and point where some people know that drama and attacking and kind of evoking emotions gets a lot of reactions, and that's why I think there's certain elements of like independent media attacking each other because they understand this is going to get us hits. Everyone's going to talk about this. We're going to get a lot of views, and I'm like, be careful with how you're approaching this particular subject because it is becoming a self-destructive kind of endeavor, to say the least here. But again, Joe Rogan kind of laughing against all these kind of attack pieces here. And again, they're trying Michelle Obama. They're trying Hunter Biden. They're trying Gavin Newsom. All these individuals doing a whole bunch of podcasts. Nothing's really sticking to the wall. They even made Pete Buttigieg get a beard. They're like, okay, will this guy work? Nothing's working. Why? Because you have to be honest and genuine, and these people are fake.
Like, good luck.
Yeah,
you guys cancel each other if your fucking Ukraine flag is too small.
Yeah. 6 by 6.
Yeah, you fucking talk shit about each other for not having trans kids. You guys are out of your mind. You're not gonna sync up together. You're in a suicide cult.
Yeah.
Now, I think what he's arguing there is a great point here. But the left has shown itself, especially politically, especially in Congress, to be more cohesive than the right. Now, the right fighting itself during this key opportune time and moment where the right has all the power, I think also is a big mistake here. I think it's pretty clear that a lot of the kind of self-destructive tendencies are being adapted now by the right, which I would kind of warn about as I've been making all these videos about Milo, Candace, Nick, and all the drama and everything that's unfolding here, and it kind of how it plays into Cass Sunstein and his, war of disinformation, trying to muddy the waters and destroy any kind of legitimate government criticisms and government improvements and government action that could actually benefit the general public. Watch that video. It's previously it's a video that I just did a few hours ago.
I think that was the results of the election. I don't think that they would like to believe this, but it was a rejection of what was happening. I think the assumption is everybody just loves Trump and he's just this populist, and every person that voted for him is like, I just love everything about this guy. But I actually think that a lot of people were just like, I don't like what's happening now.
Right.
And this current administration is saying that they don't want to change much that's happening now.
Right.
So I'm voting against that lack of change.
Right.
And I think it's important.
Yeah, and this is why a lot of the same podcasters are saying, why are we doing the same policies as the old guy? And a lot of people have some serious concerns about that. Now, Joe Rogan, even previously described, this was March of last year, how the United States was headed towards cancel culture communism. It's pretty clear that because of Joe Rogan calling this out, speaking out against this, why we have a lot of people who no longer have to self-censor like they did previously on Twitter and on YouTube. Again, the floodgates have been open. I'm able to say a lot of the stuff that a couple of months ago I would have been canceled and had my YouTube channel demonetized for if I was saying it on YouTube. Now, luckily, a lot of those kind of tighter restrictions were loosened under Donald Trump here, but Donald Trump and his presidency, but most importantly, the kind of culture shift here. Now, Joe Rogan, also, one of the reasons he has so much staying power and has been around so much is because he's not willing just to kiss the ring. He's willing to question it in ways that I think are more critically important than ever. As Joe Rogan has been asking some very serious questions about what has been really going on behind the seat of power. And I think those questions, especially with the latest actions from Donald Trump here, are something that really captivates a lot of people because those are some things that a lot of people have a lot of questions about but are too afraid to mention or talk about, as those conversations for a lot of people are too taboo. And they're like, no, you can't have these conversations. I'm like, well, I think now more than ever we deserve to try to get a better perspective and understand what's really going on here. Plus, Joe Rogan, his coverage about the COOF and the COOF procedure has been top-notch. And this is one of the reasons why they try to cancel him. And I would argue one of the reasons the COOF shot didn't work is because of Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan came out here and been like, look, you're telling me to get this shot when I already got this sickness and I have natural immunity to it. All the medical journals and medical professionals that are actually paying attention to this are telling you, you shouldn't do that for any other virus, sickness, or illness. Especially when you have natural immunity. You shouldn't mess with that. And now he's bringing on scientists that are talking about, the people with long COOF now, all of them took the coof shot. All of them. Boosted. All of them. Took a number of these medical procedures. Interesting. Interesting how that unfolds here. And there is a major health crisis. And that's why I decided to, of course, partner with organizations that I personally tested. And again, Vina, thank you for sponsoring this particular video. Listen, I take everything that I was like, I want to take this. They were like, no, do the ad now. And I'm like, no. I want at least 30 days to take the products. And I have been taking the products and I like them. And I think you will too. They were like, look, we'll send you the product. And then in the week, do the ad. I'm like, and they're like, hurry up, do the ad. Hurry up, do the ad. I'm like, I need to test the product. All right. And I messed up a little bit because I had a bunch of things going on and I forgot. But then I was testing it long term and I'm like, I like this. I think you will too. Vina.com/we are changing. Guess what? That level of like consideration, a lot less people have, especially in the corporate media that are like, oh, look, it's a big pharma ad. Boom. Oh, look, it's a story criticizing big pharma. We're not going to talk about that. We're a little bit different here. I'm like, okay, we're going to sell something. Let's actually make sure it's good. I did with this product and it's great. I think you will like it. Thank you for sponsoring the show. Thank you for supporting independent media. Thank you for watching. Subscribe. Stay tuned for more. All here exclusively on youtube.com/we are change.